All right. Well, Stephanie, we are so excited to have you on the show today. I have been following a little bit about what you've been doing with the Females in Finance group, and I've been enjoyed looking at your website. And I don't want to steal your thunder, so why don't you, if you don't mind, just sharing a little bit about your background, your company, the kind of work that you do, just to set the stage here before we get into a little bit more of the nitty gritty of this engagement with Females in Finance. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I appreciate you having me today. As you indicated, I'm Stephanie. I'm one of the owners of Humans Being Resources, and we are a recruiting firm that specializes in the financial services industry. Financial services, meaning also insurance and banking as well. Kind of how I got into it, honestly, it's kind of I guess you can say funny story, but I like to give a lot of credit to my mom because she is a human resource director. So I kind of grew up in that environment. However, I started my college career as going into fashion merchandising. So I always thought I was really in thrilled with fashion and wanted to own some stores. So actually I owned a couple boutiques in my previous life, and then got into staffing. Worked at a temp agency for a little bit, and then went into more of the financial services side with a large FMO. And then just kind of having that entrepreneurial spirit, my husband and I put our heads together and started HBR based off of his background in operational and automotive, and then my experience in recruiting within financial services. So then we created our model and been here for a little over 6 years now.
Wow. Well, just with our clients, I know it's a challenge. We all constantly hear it's a challenge to find, top talent. There's an alignment of values and expertise, investment philosophy, just depending on the type of business. So why finance? Is it just because of that background or saw the need or yeah, I'd love to hear a little bit more.
Yeah, so I would say a lot of it started just from the relationships that I had already built and just kind of my knowledge within this sector. When we first started, we didn't really niche ourselves in financial services when we initially started. However, that is where the majority of our business was coming from, because as I'm sure you're familiar with, financial firms and financial advisors, they don't go into business to be a recruiter or a hiring manager. They're great at, the financial advice side of it. As we expanded, we were just, really seeing that there was this big need within financial services. So then we finally decided, let's drill down and say this is our niche and this is what we specialize in, and that's what we're going to do, and that's exactly what we do. So we've kind of just kept it that way, and we work all across the United States with various firms. So.
And what kind of placements are you typically? Are they senior level? Are they partners? Are they more operations support? What's kind of are there trends that you're seeing or yeah?
Yeah, so we do all positions up to a financial advisor with a transferable book. So we'll do a receptionist, we do marketing, client service, they can be licensed, unlicensed, paraplanners, portfolio managers. So really huge variety up until we get the call that they want an advisor with a book. That's where then I have some good partnerships that I'll refer that business out to other firms. That's kind of where we draw the line. But we can do, we get a lot of calls for junior advisors right now. So maybe they're looking for someone that has, 2-3 years of industry experience and they're licensed, but they don't need to bring a book over. But being in that advisor capacity is the role that individual would take.
That's fair. It's a different kind of engagement when you're at that relationship if you're looking to roll over a book. So if just shift gears a little bit here, I'd love to hear more about the Females and Finance Career Center partnership that you've established. That was really intriguing and interesting hub. How did that all come about? I mean, obviously you've got this dynamic background with what you're doing, and there's an alignment of, a shared vision or audience per se. But yeah, tell us a little bit more about how that partnership and that platform came about.
Yeah, so I have to give credit to one of our repeat clients who we've built a really good relationship with out in Georgia. She referred me to Cheryl, and Cheryl, as many people know, is just fabulous connector, very involved in this industry, and definitely someone you want to know and really build that relationship with. So Meredith had made that introduction, and Cheryl and I actually had several conversations prior to the career page actually being launched. So she's always, she has these great big visions, and she had this vision to get this page going and asked if we would be interested in being kind of the sponsor and kind of head that page. And we said absolutely, because it obviously goes very well with what we do. So that's been in the works now for, that's only been launched for probably a few months now,
Oh my
three,
gosh, is
three,
that
four
it?
months.
Wow.
Yeah. So
That's great.
that page is fairly new, but we're excited. It's definitely taken off, and she's done a great job of promoting it. So
And how are you sourcing the opportunities and managing it? And I mean, even the platform that was chosen. I mean, how did you sort of get from concept to launch? What happened in that in between phase?
that's that. All that credit goes to Cheryl with her, mastery skills that she has. She is the one that put it all together, and it's a good opportunity for HBR to be exposed to some other positions that might be out there. And if one of her members needs assistance in, just not knowing having a good process to follow, we're there to lean on and to help. So she manages that page and does it very well.
Okay. So then she's really managing it, setting up the software, all of that, and you're acting as that sponsor to then help to further support with the actual
Right.
platform. And are you sending, potential candidates there, or what kind of relationship do you have with supporting that in your sponsorship engagement?
Yeah, it's a good resource for potential candidates, but it's also a good resource for clients or members of the organization. If they have an open position, like I said, they're more than welcome to engage with us and our services if they don't want to, go through that process themselves. Or, it is even available for a member to just post their position out on her site. And then, between her and I and other members, we do, a lot of promotion and marketing of that page and really promoting those open jobs. So it's always being updated. I send her, constantly updating her of our new jobs that we're working on. And then she, again, with members that want to work on it maybe themselves for a little bit, putting jobs out there. So it's good for candidates, but also for members and clients.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. I think it's a pretty dynamic platform, and it feels like it fits a real a pain point right now. Are there other platforms that I haven't seen anything quite like that? I know I think FPA has some options, if I'm remembering correctly, and other groups, but not quite like this, or more all encompassing, sort of broader financial services. So,
Yeah, the thing I like, one of the things I really like about Cheryl and Females in Finance is how much, she does a lot to really promote it and market it. And I think she's grown, she's well over 3,000 members now.
it's crazy.
So it's
It's
huge.
amazing. Yeah,
Yeah. She
yeah.
definitely, she said, she wants to make an impact in this industry and really just kind of change it and, really bring a lot more workforce into the industry as well. She means it. She's doing a great job. So
Yeah.
we're excited about it because the idea is to really try to expand and get more individuals into this industry.
Yep, that's fair. That actually to take a step back and transition a little bit too. I love just to hear what you're seeing in the industry, in this industry at large. Are there, I mean, it's a different market we're in right now, COVID, post-COVID, all sort of gray, right? And work from home, and I think, finding top talent's challenging and all sorts of things. And are you seeing that in this industry? What sort of trends are you hearing, or how are you helping? Frankly, companies stand out to really find that right fit. I'd love just to hear more about. kind of the pulse that you all have on the market or the industry at large. So
Yeah, you're right. It is very tough. The past couple of years, it definitely the market has shifted and changed. I feel a lot of candidates put priority over certain things that maybe they wouldn't have in the past. So while pay definitely is important still, there's still a high importance for candidates to have good balance. And so that remote option or hybrid, that's a big one right now that we're hearing a lot. And you do still get firms who are consistent and know we want them in office. So it definitely shrinks your pool of candidates when you're not willing to offer that flexibility of hybrid or remote. So I do feel that, since COVID and the pandemic, it's made remote more desirable for many reasons. So that's been, and then like I said, going back to pay, and there's just so many jobs open right now. So this is where I really explain to clients that it is important to use like a resource like us to really do all the work for you, because it can be very time consuming when you're trying to do all the recruiting and sourcing. Anybody can post a job on a job board right now, but more than likely it will be lost because there's so many jobs posted on these job boards. So we definitely use job boards, but where we find a lot of our success is through our recruiting and the sourcing and just cold reaching to candidates. So what else? I think you asked me a few questions.
yeah, really just
kind of
around
within that
the
same
trends that you're seeing in the industry at large. So that's helpful though, just to hear a little bit more about what you're seeing on the employer side. Anything that you're hearing on the employee side, or things that employees should keep in mind, in this job market too. So
Yeah, so as far as the employee side, so typically we do work more from the client side. So when the client has the need, they reach out to us and then we start that process. I do get a lot of, through my networking and the different relationships I have, individuals reaching out, with great experienced candidates because they're ready to leave their firm. And oftentimes why they're ready to leave is either, again, the lack of flexibility or their pay. Companies have not adapted to kind of the new environment that we're in and needing to, increase their current employees' pay. So we have seen, a lot of employees leaving for better pay, but also the better flexibility and just overall opportunity. A lot of individuals want a career path.
That's fair. Yep. And along that kind of vein, I always have like the marketing lens on, right? And we talk with a number of companies about how do you promote what your company's like from a value standpoint. And it could be awards like best places to work, or just, company happenings, if there's fun events, or just more showing off that company culture. Do you have any tips for employers about ways that they can help an employee get to know who they are, either through their interviewing process or even just before they were to engage with the company, to really help warm up that prospect or even for them to self-qualify if they're a good fit?
Yeah. So we, as part of our process, once a client engages with us, we schedule what we call a client intake call. And that's where I really go deeper with the client in regards to the position, but also their firm and their culture. So I really want to learn as much as possible about their culture and just the overall opportunity that they have for their candidates. And we really use that information as we're engaging with those candidates. But of course, like you said, then it does fall on the client once they get that candidate in front of them to really, sell their firm and why someone would work for them.
Yeah, that's fair. Are there any things that you're recommending, even like that if they've got a top candidate, they talk with other employees within the company, or even like sort of onboarding processes, or is that things that your team doesn't touch? Just be curious.
So we don't get too involved in those type of conversations. We'll give a little bit of advice as far as through my conversations with candidates, learning, what are some important things to them as they're looking at new opportunities. So I share that with the clients. Training definitely is one of them. But I think that's a great idea that they, meet with some of the other team members. We have some clients who will do, maybe dual interviews. So it'll be the advisor and then somebody else in the interview as well. The thing is, do they just want to keep in mind to not drag that interview process out too far? Because especially in today's market, candidates go very fast.
Yeah.
So if they're going through multiple interviews, you're going to lose them. They're
Yeah.
probably going to go down the street to your competitor.
Out of curiosity, what's a typical, like, I want to hire someone to hiring them? I mean, I'm sure it changes by the kind of role, but I'd just be curious if there's
Right.
an average for where it falls, or even an average for more of like a partner or a more senior hire. I'd be curious to know the length of time.
So we tell our clients on average 8 to 10 weeks. But like you said, there's so much that goes into that. So it's kind of hard to really drill it down exactly because location's going to be one, what they're offering, their overall offering, the salary, and just kind of how they compare with their competition in the market. So that really can vary, but we do tell them 8 to 10 weeks.
Okay, that's fair. And then any tough conversations or things behind the scenes that you think even before you get going that you're having with your clients, just or job descriptions more sort of you're seeing more unicorn job descriptions or other things like I just be curious, things that might help employers as they're thinking about who to hire and how to put this together and all of that. So what do you wish they would have
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great question. There's definitely a lot that comes to my mind. So we do help them with the job posting. So we create the job posting based off of the information that they give us. So one thing we have found is that advisors or firms have different titles for basically the same position. So we really, we give our advice based on our experience and what title works once we post that position. So they all kind of like to name it different things, but it's all essentially the same. So that's one of them. I would say the toughest conversation really is salary, and really just educating them on what the market is like today, that we are not in the same state we were in, 3 or 4 years ago. Pay has changed a lot. And if you want to attract top good talent, you really got to make sure you're in line. And that, again, that's part of our process too. We do research based on their area and the certifications that they're looking for and their minimum requirements, and we'll provide them with what our recommendation is. And then timing is a big one, really making sure that they engage with us, that they are committed to the hiring process. So really setting time aside to put those candidates through an interview and ready to offer when the time comes. So those would really, I would say, are kind of the top ones, but we really try to keep them as involved and try to take as much off their plate as possible when they go through our process.
Yeah, that's fair. That makes sense. And I would assume not only timing from can you be involved, but then you think about the holidays and all these other things that come into play, right? That just can throw a cycle off. So very good. Well, any other closing thoughts before we wrap things up here? It's been so fun to hear. Yeah, just hear about your role and relationship with the females in finance group and all of that. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't have too much else to add other than, we're here to help. Again, like I said, we want to just save clients time, let them focus on what they're good at, and then, outsource the other parts of it. It's what we specialize in. We're a recruiting firm, so we know where to find good talent, and really will help kind of get them through that process.
Oh, that makes sense. So much easier said than done, right? So it's all about the people, right? So having a good team is just it's
Absolutely.
that's what it's all about. So well, thank you so much, Stephanie, for your time. Really appreciate you sharing more about not only your day to day, but the relationship and also how you're giving back to the community as well. And I'm really, I think, helping to support Avoid and create a platform to help um, recruit talent and share opportunities. So thank you again.
Absolutely. Thank you.